So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
We are back. We survived the kill list. We are here. Well, what did we though? Inside joke. But we are here to record episode 5 of Succession entitled The Kill List. D, how's it going?
I'm good. My successor is here, one of them. So bear with us, y'all. You know, we're real people with real lives and stuff.
Real people with real lives. Yes,
he got opinions. So if you hear him, just know that he is my successor speaking on my behalf because I'm not all there. You know, he's putting his input in.
We have a special guest in the house tonight, but to set the tone for this episode, and I'll try to say this with a straight face. I want to take us back to episode 1 of Succession. Kendall is in the car listening to No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys. He's getting pumped up for a deal. So which deal is he getting pumped up to do?
I don't know why you think I remember what deal he was doing on season 1, episode 1, because 1, that was when they had that real shoddy camera work, and I wasn't even sure I was going to stick with the show. I'm going to put that out there. And 2, I have slept since then, so I have no idea. Enlighten me, please. By the way, I want y'all to know he is the reason that I kept watching, because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to handle these camera angles. I'm not going to be able to do it. Why does it keep zooming in and out like this? I hate it. He's like, no, stick with it. So hopefully y'all did too. It was tough. Season 1 was tough.
Yeah, I love the self-awareness to realize that tactic is shit and doesn't work. It's such an ineffective tactic. Sorry, Adam McKay, but it sucks. But anyway, he was getting pumped up to do the Walter deal. He offers $1 billion. The CEO of Walter is like, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to walk out. And Barack Obama, Parker Sawyer's character, who appeared for only like a few episodes in Succession, but he played Barack Obama in Southside with You. He said something to Kendall, which was, hey, do you want to just call your dad? I say that to say this is the first time Kendall and Roman has had to step into this arena without Logan being present. So they're going to do the deal on their own, and Dad isn't present, and we finally get to see what they're made of.
You know, the best part of it too is that, like, not only is it the first time they've had to do without him, and we see how that happened, but like Logan saw it though. Like he already knew they didn't have the goods. And you would think that with Kendall having that first deal all those seasons ago and Logan having like no faith in them, that they would have put forth some effort to be better prepared. Right?
Yeah. Maybe? And I'm glad you mentioned that, because the one thing about Logan and what he did well is he kind of treated deals as like a head coach going into a football game. He put everyone in position. So he would tell like Shiv, you go talk to her. Roman, you go talk to the racist. Tom, you go fuck off. Greg, go shove your head up Tom's ass. Just get out my face. Like he would put everyone in position. But going into this deal, Kendall and Roman, what did they do to prep?
They talked about prepping.
Yeah, their prep was talking about prepping.
They had a meeting about the meeting and never had the meeting. So, yeah. But they did. They kept talking about how they were going to kind of, let's get into it, or do you want to get into it? And it seems like somebody would come, the slightest distraction would throw them off, but there was never, ever any focus, ever.
Right.
Like Ken walked in there like he was, Jay-Z. He really did. He walked in like, the king is here, the champ is here. And, even Roman was like, you're doing a lot, don't you think?
Because at the very least, like you could tell that Roman and Kendall weren't even on the same page. Which is, yeah.
Are they ever though?
No, they aren't. They aren't.
Well, I will say they were one time, and that was when they were forming the CE Bros. Other than that,
Yeah, but this reminded me a lot of like the Pierce deal when they went to have dinner with the Pierces because Lucas Matson was like, "Hey, I don't care that steam is still coming off your dad's body. Like, I want you here. I want you to fly to Norway for this retreat." But it's very important because as much as they're trying to get the deal done, it's also like a culture fit. It's very much like in the corporate world, like, hey, like let's mingle and let's see, who's who. And they did that to kind of see who would break a lot of like those cultural and social exchanges. And a lot of them did off the bat without even realizing it. A lot of them like flat out like offended the most vile Viking like in the world by just doing things that you shouldn't do in mixed company.
Most vile Viking. I mean, but he was really on some BS because he pretty much was like, daddies die every day, B. Like,
yeah.
But this is going on right now, so this is where y'all need to be. I mean, he's already dead. There's nothing y'all can do about that. So
and much to their credit, like if you gave like already dead, like elevator on the way to purgatory, Logan Roy, a chance to say one sentence, he would just pop out the casket and say, "Get the fucking deal done." Like, so he this is what he would want, which is why I'm just gonna say it now. It's so disappointing to see them go into this with like such a lack of like just finesse and just they aren't good.
It was what I guess the best way I could say it is he was playing with his food, for lack of better words. That's all Lucas was doing. That was like, it was hard to watch because
very much so.
I'm watching them and I have some kind of expectation. I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is going to shift. Maybe there's a plan. Maybe there's something that's going to happen but it's like, I am not in that business or in that world at all. And I know I watched the show, so it's a little, I can't say, well, this is how I would have acted. But you would think that the awareness would have been there, that he was kind of like he was again playing with his food because he knew they were ill prepared. But even beyond that, it was like, not only am I going to do this, I'm going to fuck with you in the meantime and see if y'all even notice that that's what I'm doing. And it's almost like they didn't for a while until they pissed them off, until they pissed Rome off, but they didn't like the business part of it. It's like they weren't seeing that at all, which is odd. Well, it's not odd for them, but a little bit. You think they know a little bit more?
Yeah, and I wanted to liken that to the Walter deal because if you're negotiating with Kendall and you do one thing that he hasn't accounted for, then he's like lost in negotiations. And we saw like Logan, on the other hand, if you throw him a curveball, he's just going to get up and he's just going to walk away. He's going to be like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Just let me know when you're ready to talk again. But that's when Kendall's palms get sweaty and he starts to like, well, man, it's like, are we doing this? Or like,
my dad, what would Dad do? What would my dad? And that is another, that they did a good job of showing that, because it showed me right off. One of the first things I said was, oh, okay, well, this is why he liked Lucas. This is why Logan liked him, because they're kind of one and the same. Lucas is just a little more, I guess, suave because he's younger. So it seems a little more cool, but it's the same cruelty. It's cruel. Yeah. Like the way they talk to people, the way they treat people, it's cruel. But Lucas has a little more finesse because he at least pretends to act like it's a joke when you know that he's 100% serious.
Well, yeah, I think like what makes him an interesting character is like he really just does these like multi-billion-dollar deals for fun. So it really like doesn't matter to him. He's like, I'll be cool either way. You just let me know. Whereas like you see basically the legacy of the Roy brothers attached to this, because they're like, yeah, like what would Dad have done? But should we do it our own way? Or like, so they don't even, without him, they don't even know like how to proceed, because
do they even truly know what he would do? Like, because they keep saying, what would dad do? And I think it's legit question. I don't think they know really what he would do in a situation. They're just kind of hoping that they do like the most evil thing and justify it by saying it's what dad would have done, when that's not necessarily true. Their dad would make the best deal or do the thing that makes the most sense. I don't think they ever know what that thing is, which is very scary for somebody that's running your company.
So basically what they did is like, let's bring this down to like the real world. Like, let's say you have a coffee table that you're selling and you put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy the coffee table. But then I walk into your house and I'm like, for $20 extra, give me that sofa. Give me the TV stand.
Give me the whole house.
Bookcase. Give me the whole house for $20 more. And
it's fair, right? This makes sense. Yeah. You don't really want the house. I mean,
and I can emphatically say that's not what Logan Roy would have done. Because if he wanted to retain it, and we know this because that was like his dying wish. If he wanted to retain a single thing, it was ATN. But now ATN was tossed into the deal now.
He was gonna do it with you lot. He said it, right?
Yeah.
With you lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they like and again, I think this is what sets Lukas apart from them on even another level, because he was even like, y'all don't want ATN. You don't really want it, do you? You don't want it. This makes sense. And you like it. I can tell you like it. Like, he's playing y'all against each other in your face. He is literally playing in y'all faces. And they did nothing, Ronnie. They look stupid. They look stupid the whole episode. Even in the moves they thought were clever were silly.
And I brought up the Walter thing because he made sure to call Kendall Walter boy. So if you don't remember, Kendall ended up getting Walter, but then he like gutted it, and like Walter's like worth nothing now. So he's like, hey, you tried news once and you sucked at it. So you want to try that again? And he's like really like poking at them. And I want to like ask you like your take on something, because, and by the way, I feel like I like saw this part coming, but the part where Kendall was like, yeah, let's just blow up the deal and let's just keep it all. Like, in my mind, that's like, that shows that he, and true enough, we're talking about billions on billions of dollars, but that shows like he's like very small.
Yes.
Because he just like, that was like, I want to do what's safe, basically, instead of having to like, because he even says that he's like, yo, we keep running our shop. We don't have to do this. We're good at debatable. So that just shows like, they're not ready for the big dogs yet.
Here's another thing from me. I am never going to say I'm poor, because I'm not. Like, I'm not poor. I have a very reasonable amount of money. I am, for all intents and purposes, wealthy, hypothetically. Now, what I don't understand is how that class of people, the billionaires, the whatever, why don't they want the money and then they can just be like, what is it about the running the show or being the CEO or the title that they need so desperately that they won't just take these billions of dollars and just live?
Well, I think
my goal in life is to make enough money so I don't have to work, my boys don't have to work, and then their children don't have to work. So I don't get why they keep doing things that could potentially jeopardize that. I don't understand.
But I think in this case, he had the realization, like, who would I be without this?
Rich.
Yeah, true.
Well, he said, sorry, excuse me, already rich. He did say that. My bad. You made sure to say
but that's what I'm saying.
rich.
Like much to your point, these people have so much money where money isn't even a real thing. So what's left for them? And it's like legacy. So I think he's like, who am I without this? Okay. So he and Roman then embark on this terrible, terrible, terrible plan to try to like throw a wrench in the operation. But I think it's important to cut to Shiv now because her conversation will have implications later. Matson talks. Oh my god! I just remembered his little thing, which is like so weird, but it also makes sense for him because he's because he's like so hypothetically speaking, like I sent like a liter brick of blood to an employee.
Hypothetically, of course.
Hypothetically, of course. And this employee might be like, oh yeah, she might be Eva who you met earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, not just any employee. But they're when she's head of communications, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that employee. So it's not like just some, and this isn't, demeaning any job, but it's not like this girl is IT support or she's in media or advertising.
Not in the mailroom.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. So obviously she could like end him considering that she's had communications. So Shiv is like, for one, don't fire her. I know you're tempted. Don't fire her. But also, if this thing happens, which by the way, it can happen, just throw an inordinate amount at my brothers and they will bite. But if this still happens, Jerry, she's good. Carolina, she's good. And Tom, like it's difficult, but yeah, it's still my husband. Keep those names in mind.
Let's talk about Tom right quick, because I think I was a tad perplexed about that. Now, I get that is still her husband, although she's supposed to get a divorce. And I'm assuming that it has something to do with the baby also. But is he smarter than I thought? Like, is he valuable, or is she just wants him back to what he used to be, which is her underling? And money for the baby.
All right. So there's a minor little detail in this episode, which is and you could true enough, you can say like that was part of the impetus for Shiv to do what she wanted to do in the first place. But they basically gave Jared Mencken like an editorial. They allowed him to use ATN to give like basically his editorial. And Shiv was like, who gave him permission to do that? And then she was like, it was Sid, right? She was like, well, get rid of Sid. You're ready to step up to ATN. So think about this. If they sell the whole company, just all of it, that means they're out. Like they sell the shares, they're out. How do you remain in the company? Oh, I just so happen to be married to the head of ATN.
It's just so weird to see Shiv make smart moves. And I say smart because it's evil, but it's in her best interest. And Jerry has been saying that, how does it benefit me? Now, another question I have is, though, you're saying if they sell the whole thing, ain't that what 192? Isn't that what it did? Isn't that it? Yeah, it's over, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
not say over, but that's what he did, right? He bought.
It's pending board approval, which let me take a step back.
Who else was on the board?
I feel like I need to discuss something else. So,
okay.
I know enough about business, which is very, very little, to know that. And by the way, I'm not talking about like recruiting or like storming the field when I say this, but I know enough about business to know that Roman committed an SEC violation because.
Yes. I mean, a big one.
A la Sir Elon Musk, if you commit to buying something and you try to circumvent your board and try to botch the deal internally, there are repercussions for that. So Roman audibly admitted, like, I am butchering the deal. But if it gets back to the board, I would just say it's a negotiation tactic, which still doesn't, absolve you of anything.
Because you still said it, right? And no one's going to believe. So I guess at that point, it would be his word against Kendall and Roman because, Kendall was there too. But the board is not gonna, especially with that number, the board is gonna be like, oh, okay, well, it does seem like they kind of playing around. What is the problem?
Yeah,
What is the holdup? What are we doing?
Lucas was like Bill Duke and Men's Society. You fucked up, right?
You better.
You fucked up, right?
Can you take a picture of your brothers? That was the part for me because I'm like, she's really gonna send a picture too. Like she really did.
Because they were, and what's so wild is that they sucked, they blew it up, but they're gonna get the credit. Meanwhile, Shiv is in the back like
she really is. Like she is very excited about what is going on. And I wonder, I was watching it, and before, of course, we got to the end when I saw Lucas's big picture, I was like, well, is he in some kind of trouble? Because he was just like, I need to make this deal. I need to do it fast. And I'm like, well, why? But again, now I see that it was all, a part of his plan. He was just messing with him the whole time. How much money does he have? Like, it seems like he's got an infinite amount of funds.
Yeah, if he's buying something for 192 billion, then I don't even want to know what he's worth.
You know how big that number is?
That number is so large, it's beyond comprehension.
It doesn't compute. Like it really, really doesn't. It doesn't at all. So their plan was to have Lucas buy it, and then they were going to use that for Pierce, right?
Yeah, which is weird that like after like the first like time they hit a wall, they then decided like, okay, we're just going to walk away from the Gojo deal. We're just going to walk away from which
because I'm like, if you do,
they don't have the cash on hand to buy Pierce anymore. So
then they just keep ATN because Waystar Royco, is that gone already? Or is that all? That's what he's getting everything. He was given.
So he's essentially, so what they were gonna do previously, it's like, once again, to liken this to Fox. This is like when Fox sold like Fox Studios.
Fox News. Okay.
Yeah. But they retained like Fox News and then Fox Sports. But so they were just gonna like break stuff into pieces. So they were gonna keep the news piece, but the cruises, the parks, the movie studio, they were gonna relinquish all of that and maintain.
Yeah, that's why he showed in that shitty movie.
Yeah.
And I also want to add, it was 3 hours, wasn't it? Oh, he was asleep. The robot was asleep for 2 hours, and then the rest of it was there. He had bars for them because he told them they were a tribute band.
Tribute band.
But the most significant thing he told them that made like that stung, but it made sense, was when they were talking about we're a brand, and he's like, "No, you are parts. You have good parts and a terrible brand." And I'm like, that is very much true because he really can pull apart all of these things and put them on another vehicle, but the vehicle as itself as a whole is not good. Nobody wants it.
No, it's not working.
And but it's true. And they can be angry about it if they want. It could be as upset as they want to be, but he told the truth. Can we kind of get back to this whole blood thing? Because I want to talk about Shiv. Why did he why did he divulge that information? He's just like, is he one of those people that's so rich and so conceited, I guess, that he doesn't think that anything will happen? Did he give the story to Shiv to see how she would run with it? Because I always said, if I was famous, I would give different people different versions of a story to see which version leaked, and then I'd know who I can't trust, right? Was that what he's doing? But you were like, no, he just really gave liters and liters of blood. And it's just so weird. I think I just can't wrap my mind around it because that is the strangest thing I've ever heard in my life. Why? Why would you do that?
Because he's a weirdo. And I think the reason he told Shiv is because out of all of them, she's the one that reminds him the most of Logan. Because he was like, yeah, I could like like joke with your dad. Your dad was like, you know, your dad was like a bit of a prick, but he was cool. But I
Yeah.
think she's the one that he's like, yeah, you remind me the most of your dad. So telling her that story was kind of like a vetting process because he wanted to know like how she would handle that, and also who on her team is like the most solid. And once again, that name is those names are Jerry and Carolina.
Girl power, baby. Were you surprised that she said Jerry?
Mm.
I wasn't either. Now I do know that because I do think that the whole thing with Rome, Shiv was just being an ass. Like she's just trying to get in where she fit in. She was mad because she wasn't, taking over and all that stuff. But if you have any good business savvy, you don't let Jerry go anywhere.
Nah.
Like I wouldn't let her go nowhere. And as annoying and it seemed as heartless as Carolina was, Carolina got down in business. Cause she was almost like Lukas, like, hey, so Logan's dead, so sad. Okay, but how are we gonna write this up? Y'all ready? You wanna write it? We're gonna write it. Somebody gotta write it before we
she's all
land.
about
Like
business, yeah.
she is on it. So if you want somebody for that job, then she would be the one to do it, I think. And he let go because you keep mentioning the people he kept. He let go Hugo, Carl, Frank, Tom stayed, and then the other two I don't remember their names, but the two that's kind of like in the IT. I think they were IT or media or something of that name, maybe press. I don't know, but they're gone too. So all the guys except like Tom are gone, and they didn't mention Greg either, right? Was he even on the list?
Yeah, because Greg walked up to Mattson and Mattson was like, "I'm sorry, who are you?"
I have no idea who you are. Why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are all these people here? I thought it was just going to be us. What is going on? Oh no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, come on. And it happened very quickly. I will say that. Now, I guess my next question: Roman and Kendall really seemed confused, defeated, lost when they said that number. What were they not expecting him to do it?
It's like it's real now.
I mean, that's a huge number. I didn't expect him to go that high. I would say that. I wouldn't expect him to go that high. And to me, that is almost like, because I feel like he could have gone lower and they would have been like, okay, cool. But like that number is, hey, I want it and I will have it.
It's a number that's like so high that you're crazy to turn it down. So I think that was the point because they were hoping to kind of like back out. So they were hoping to like pretend like they were acting in good faith and throw out a number. So he would shut it down. But no, 192 of them things.
Things, man, because they were looking at 144 and keeping ATN, right? 144, the magic number. It was 144, trying to get 146 or better, but 144 was the number, and they left with 192, but also no ATN. So we all agree that Lukas wins, right? At least this round.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is gonna happen? Because that board meeting, I'm assuming that's the board meeting, right? Next, or shareholders meeting or whatever it is that Ken's doing.
So to put this into context, if the last time you talked to Sandy and Stewie and you said like, hey, we're gonna go secure this deal, but we're also gonna like buy Pierce, and then you come back. Because remember, like Stewie, who once again is all about the money, he was like, yeah, Kendall, if I back you, you better get shit done. So last time you talked to Kendall's like, yo, I'm going to get the deal done. That's what Dad would do. But now, like this is like me. This is like if you tell your husband, I'm just gonna sell the coffee table, but then he comes back home and then everything is sold. And he's like, what the hell?
I sold everything in the kitchen.
Right. So now they're coming back to the board and they're like, oh yeah, like all of this is for sale. And they're like,
Did we agree to that? Doesn't sound like that's what we agreed to.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but considering that they are serving in an interim capacity, I can because I will say this: people are cheering for like Kendall and Roman because like from the team perspective, like you know, it looks like they got it done. But I feel like once this gets to the board and once like there's some interference ran by Shield and even like post acquisition, they know they're cooked. They know they're done.
They do. And is there a way to blow it up without going to jail?
I mean, it's up for the board vote now, so the board can like shut it down, but it's nothing they can do.
Well, I mean, okay. Can the board, in good faith, shut it down? Well, yeah, they could. But I'm saying if the board
vote against it, yeah,
they could vote against it. But does Lukas have a case being that Roman said what he said about the litigation and tying it up and blowing it up and all that good stuff?
I mean, I'm pretty sure like he could like mention that, and then the board could be like, "You tried to do what? Let's how about we vote to have him tossed from the board."
But I guess too, he could say this was the number or this was the deal before he wanted to change it to 18. Because I guess he has that on his side. He can say it's not that we went in there with something else. He changed it. So all of it's out the window now because he added 18 in the mix, I guess. And he mentioned that not only did he add 18 in there, he's about to, like, once he gets 18, it's going to be a totally different situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It's crazy though, because Lukas is the person that's closest to Logan. It's exactly like Twitter, as a matter of fact. Got to start paying for it. It's going to be a premium channel, like Stars.
But yeah, we
I really enjoyed this episode, though. I want to say that, like, this was one of the ones, because there are a lot of times that they do the business speak, and I'm not very business savvy, especially like major moves like that. They do enough that I can gather the big picture. But this was cool to see how almost like the deals are made, almost kind of. It reminded me of the one when they were taking that hike with Adrian Brody. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, y'all. That was kind of cool too, because it was pissing me off. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are we taking a hike? What are we doing? But it's the same thing. It's almost like you can see the mind games, the literal, physical, emotional, all of this stuff that they put you through for these deals, and they have so much money at stake. It's almost like, well, if I gotta go to the top of the mountain to make $192 billion, then so be it.
Yeah. In closing, I just want to say that I'm not a person. If you go out on a date for the first time, you should like try to conceal like your appetite, or you should try to like eat daintily. But if a Viking invites you to his Norway compound, don't load your plate with Danishes. Show some restraint. Show a little restraint. Don't eat all the Danishes.
You gotta eat all of them. You gotta show, you know what I'm saying? I drink your milkshake too, my G. and also, I got a long straw.
And also before I depart, wear your compression socks. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Thanks for watching this. Peace.